Hello, it's Colette. Welcome to my channel, and this is a video on how to know if your inner shaman is awakening, how to know if a shamanic path is for you. And it's not how to know if you're a shaman. And I'll get this little bit out the way first before I give you my 17 signs that you're awakening to a shamanic path. The word shaman has many meanings, but it represents one who knows how to go between the different worlds, to commune with spirits, to commune with nature, to go to places in a way that is seen as paranormal, that other people can't go. Bring back the knowledge and use it for healing, advice, and a sense of teaching. And because of that, it's a very, very specialised path, and there's a lot of interest in it at the moment, which is wonderful. I would love more people to understand and to know about this path. But you can't just call yourself a shaman. To me, to be a true shaman, you need to be recognised and have a community that you support and who also support you. In Indigenous societies, this was easy. You know, the shaman may be identified as a young child and nurtured and given the space to develop and grow within their art. In modern societies, we tend not to have that. And because of it, there can be many signs that you're being drawn to a shamanic path, and that yes, eventually you will be a shaman. But we don't have the support, the mentoring, etc. that Indigenous and ancient tribes had. So a lot of people come into shamanism later on in life when they've maybe experimented with other things, they've maybe been through various forms of religions, found that the dogma, etc. didn't work for them, and then moved towards a more natural way of communing and being. It's a connection with consciousness, but not really for yourself, it's for others. And yes, the shaman is normally quite a solitary person, but they use their solitude to heal, to grow, to understand, and then they are able to serve their community. So I want to say that in a nice way, but there's too many people that maybe are running the odd course or doing this or that and the next thing, and they're saying they're a shaman, when really they might be an amazing healer, or they might be walking a wonderful shamanic path. But in traditional societies, in Indigenous societies, it would be seen as a great shame to call yourself a shaman unless you had done the work, had the initiations, and literally had been through near death and very many other things, so that you yourself could recognise yourself as a shaman, but the community could too. Anyone calling themselves a shaman who were not really would be seen as shameful or egotistical. And I'd just like to put that out there. I am amazed at the amount of people that are waking up to their shamanic path, and I know that many of them will go on to be shamans with their own communities and their own way of healing and helping and advice giving. And they may not call themselves a shaman, they may be known as one of the best healers out there, but the point is they'll walk their talk and they'll have many, many experiences. So with that said, I've got my bullet points here. Let me tell you 17 signs that you're awakening as a shaman, or you're being drawn towards a shamanic path. I've got a wee extra one at the end, but it's just a wee funny one. The first one is nature is your temple. Shamanism is about being contented and being almost ecstatic in nature. There's no need for a church, a building, a constraint of any type. Now, don't get me wrong, shamanism does flow through many of the world's religions, but I see it as something that's experienced by them but is on top of all of them, because it's not really a religion in any way. It's different things that come out of ecstatic experience of connection with spirits, with different worlds, with gods, goddesses, deities. So someone that's maybe seen a statue of the Virgin Mary move or pass on something to them, they would say that was a miracle. That would be a shamanic experience. And I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but one thing that a shaman will believe in is miracles. And miracles happen through a lot of faith and a lot of being put in situations that kick in a shamanic experience. Sometimes that can be with chant, with the sense of rhythm, with a sense of, maybe the droning that comes out of a prayer. These things can lead to a shamanic experience. So it doesn't mean that you can't have shamanic experiences in a church, in a temple, in a mosque. You can, but you also can have them in nature, and it's more like in nature that you would have them. So nature is your temple. You would always want to be out in nature, and things that maybe would frighten other people will not frighten a shaman. They'll see, sense that there's thunder coming and lightning, and the first thing is, great, I can be out in it. I can be experiencing that. They don't fear hailstones. They don't fear rain. They want to be in amongst the elements and enjoying it and feeling it and seeing what it means to not just their bodies but their mind, their soul. So a strong connection to nature and seeing nature as the temple of worship is, to me, the first aspect of following a shamanic path. Number 2, you have connection to spirit guides. That could be one guide, it could be many, but most shamans have one entity or even more that will mentor them from the other side. That could be seen as a spirit guide, it could be seen as a master, whatever you want to call it. Most shamans do work hand in hand with spirit guides, and if you would like more on spirit guides, let me know in the comments below. Now, your spirit guide isn't really a kind of family spirit that's maybe not long past. It would maybe be someone from a very far back generation in your family. It could be a tribal or generational spirit, but the spirit guide is felt or seen or both or heard by the shaman and is as much a part of their day-to-day life as maybe their brother or sister or spouse. And again, that can be a difficult thing. My spirit guide has been acknowledged by family and friends for many years, and at gatherings, even if it's just like a meal or whatever, they'll know he's around and they'll honour him or they'll talk to him. That's how much my spirit guide is now integrated into my family and my wider community. So number 2, you have a connection and can converse with your spirit guide. Number 3 is a love and respect for animals. Now, love for animals is the meaning that you would not want anything bad to happen to them. So shamans are very concerned about animals, about endangered species, stuff like that. But they also respect animals for what they show us. You don't just look at a dog and say, oh, nice dog. They would watch a dog and see its loyalty and honour that loyalty. They would watch a little mouse and see how hardworking the mouse was. They would watch a lion and see the ferociousness when it was necessary. And bit by bit, they would build up a connection with the energies of certain animals. And one or maybe a few more would become their animal totems, or their spirit allies. So although there's a great connection just with animals in general for a shaman or for anyone following a shamanic path, there is a deeper connection with the spirit of that animal, with the spirit of what they can show us, what they can teach us as human beings. And remember, although that's about animals, there's spirit in everything. A shaman will sense, feel, see, hear, whatever. Because there's other senses they're using that aren't part of our normal senses. They'll use their sixth sense to sense what a rock is trying to tell them, the spirit of a mountain, the spirit of a river. All of nature, everything intrinsic to the earth, below and above, and the universe has its own spirit. And that's what the shaman can sense and work with. So it's a love and respect for animals, but also all beings. Number 4, they see the magic in natural cycles and seasons. A shaman wouldn't try to hurry the seasons along. They wouldn't be interested in any genetic modification of plants, and they would see that as something horrendous, that nature has been tampered with. To the shaman, the seasons of life become something that we immerse ourselves in, that we teach from, that we sit back and take time, that we know there's a time we'll have energy, we know there's a time where we need to rest, we know there's a time of creativity, we know there's a time for birth and death is never feared. And because we're always involved with the turning of the cycles, one of the things that becomes quite, as I say, fearless to us is death. And that's one of the magical things of a shamanic path. It also means, on a lesser level, that a lot of people on a shamanic path love gardening, or they love farming, or they love being connected with the land in some way. Number 5, you experience a lot of deja vu. You know, oh God, I've done this before. Oh, that feeling, that sense of, seeing the future, bringing it back, seeing the past, bringing it forward. Sometimes time is just like a big amoeba, and we have the ability to whoosh forward, get a snapshot, bring it back. And then when we experience it, we think we've done it before, but we actually haven't done it before. We've just perceived it before. And that's where deja vu can be one of the first signs that someone is needing to look further into a shamanic path. Number 6, craving solitude. Although a shaman has a community and serves the community, they need space. They need a place where they can be on their own to hear and see and sense without the energies of other humans. They need the little cave. They need to be hermits from time to time, because without that hermit time, without that isolation time, they do not build up the strength and knowledge to be the person that their community needs. And I find I've moved far more forward shamanically since I moved to my wee cottage in the back of Beyond. We very rarely get people chapping the door. We very rarely see strangers as such, and it's a wonderfully calm place to be. So yes, shamans crave solitude and sometimes feel as though they need to be elsewhere, like they need to connect or touch base with wherever that may be. Number 7, I think this is going to be a long video, but I'll try and keep it within time that is acceptable for YouTube. As I say, I can go into these in far more depth if you so choose. Let me know in the comments below. Shamans, or people on a shamanic path, connect with herbs and natural remedies. In fact, there can sometimes be a whole kind of hereditary of this running through. With myself, I was always interested and then went and studied pharmacy, but you know, the parts of pharmacy that I really enjoyed were all the plant-based bits of it, etc. But a lot of herbalists, a lot of people that work with natural remedies and are into natural nutrition, stuff like that, are already following a shamanic path. So that's an interesting one. Number 8, you experience intense dreams. The dreams can be prophetic, they can predict, they can take us into the different worlds that we would visit if we put ourselves into a shamanic journey. We can do that naturally in dream time, and the dreams can feel like bonkers, and it can take time to sit and try and unravel them. Some of the dreams take us to places that we've been in our soul's past and also our soul journey's future. So those sometimes don't make as much sense to us and can be very confusing. But the one thing that you do have in following a shamanic path is intense lucid dreams. Number 9, telepathy. Shamans can normally hear what people are saying in their heads or finish a sentence before they've said it. Sometimes this is a way that they gather information for the healings they do, particularly if it's with animals. Horse whisperers, animal whisperers, they connect through telepathy to the animal, and with what they get, they can then do their healing. So a lot of people on our shamanic path will say, oh, I freaked myself out. My goodness, I said this and something else happened, and they finished my sentence off. There's a lot of experience of telepathy in a shamanic path. Number 10, this comes a wee bit from needing solitude, but most people that are following a shamanic path are not good in cities or busy places. Like big festivals would freak them out. I can't think of anywhere worse to be than a major city like New York or Tokyo, simply because of the amount of people's energies that would flood towards me, and the energies sometimes of the aggression or assertiveness, or it's just too much. And most people that are following a shamanic path and will go on to be shamans do not do well in artificial environments or major cities, and that goes back to the need to be in nature. Number 11, they adore drumbeat, rhythm and chants. Many things can be used to take us into a shamanic state. One of the easiest is simply rhythm. Now that can be the rhythm of your own body, which is dance, and many shamans and shamanic path people just love to dance. Drumbeat, they'll use drumbeat to send them on a journey. They'll go into a trance through drumbeat, or they'll be able to send themselves into a trance, into a very different state of mind by chants and by rhythm. And again, it would be interesting to do more on that if you're interested. Number 12. Most people investigating the shamanic path have some sort of psychic gifts, i.e. clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. They are open sixth sense people. They sense, they see, they can predict, they can see what's going on in people. And it's normally that sense that they work with first, that they get a handle on, and then they start thinking about what next. And that, I'm sure, will be the thing that's led you to this video, that you've explored your psychic senses and now want to know what you can really do with them and where they can take you. And good. Let me know in the comments below if that's you, if you've come to this video by intrigue over all your psychic awareness, but what are they there for? What next? Okay. Number 13, you've experienced a near-death experience or some sort of mystical energetic thing round about you. Not everybody has near-death experiences, but some people can become very ill and maybe have been out of it for a while. Some people can die and be brought back to life. In my own particular near-death experience, I actually was dead in the womb and then was taken out and resuscitated. So in this life, my shamanic death as such was at the very, very beginning of my earth walk, which is interesting. But you'll know what I mean. There's the sense of having to almost die back before you can rebirth. And that can come through many things. It can come through near-death experiences. It can come through huge lifestyle changes that tip a person almost near into madness. And that would be an interesting one. If anybody's got any questions on that, please leave them below and I'll try my best to answer them for you. Number 14, they tend to have healing in their hands, healing flowing through their body. A shaman really is here to heal. He's here to take the knowledge from spirits, from different worlds, and bring that out to heal people. So a lot of Reiki healers, a lot of spiritual healers, a lot of shamanic healers all have very warm hands or very, very major blood supply to their hands, and also are actively healing, and that's maybe what they're labelling themselves as, but bit by bit we'll understand that yes, they are a healer, but there's something bigger driving that. So yes, most people on a shamanic path are learning more and more about their healing ability every day, and they're using it. They're not just learning about it. They're putting hands on animals, they're healing their friends, they're learning about distant healing, they're learning to be the best healer they can be, and understand that there's very, very, very intriguing shamanic underlying ways of channeling that healing. Number 15, shamanic sickness. This is something that there's an archetype called, the wounded traveller, or the wounded shaman, the wounded healer. It's when in life you have to go through certain illnesses, certain things that bring you to ground zero, basically, and you pull yourself up. And in not healing yourself or heal, I'm not saying you can heal all disease, but in healing the way that you deal with it, and in healing your life and healing the way that you are now moving forward for others, then that really puts you on a shamanic path. There will be no shaman out there that has not had a major illness in their life. And it could be a major illness that literally had them at death's door. Could have been a major heart attack. Could have been a birth trauma. So know that that is intrinsic to this path, coming through something and then using that consciousness, that oneness, that knowledge to help other people. Number 16, again, it's one I kind of put in at the start. To follow a shamanic path is all of the others, but to actually call yourself a shaman, you must be called a shaman by other people. People must recognise it in you. And as I say, in Indigenous societies, the shaman would have been recognised, nurtured or whatever. But what happens now is most people have to go on with it on their own, have to look at videos like this, move forward, read books, seek out a mentor. But bit by bit, they'll maybe have been doing clairvoyance, they'll maybe have been doing healing, they'll maybe have been writing about the way we live, all sorts of things that will have drawn people towards them. And they are there to serve that community. Now, that community can start off with family and friends, and then word of mouth, your community does become bigger. But to actually call yourself a shaman, don't use that title lightly, because it's not an easy thing to be. Some people would say it's quite a dangerous thing to be. So it's only when you have your community and the trust of that community and that standing and that knowing in yourself that you will not let them down, that if they call you, you will do your best to help, to heal, to advise. That's when, with the guidance of the guides, the universe and the other worlds, you can actually call yourself a shaman. Number 17 is one that is probably just I've put in because of the way we are. A shaman will feel sadness and almost despair at the way the world is just now. They'll feel the negative energies. They'll feel the energies of aggression, of danger to Mother Earth through nuclear devices, through fracking, through all these things that are harming our mother. And sometimes it weighs very, very, very heavy. And the way that I feel that you can get round that is to be proactive and fight these things. Walk your talk, say what you mean. And that, in some ways, we find that some shamans for their community actually can be quite political, because they're not willing to sit down and roll over. They will say, no, I don't agree with this and this is why. They'll stand up for their community and they'll do it in a very strong and determined way. But yes, a lot of shamans would feel an energy build up, building, and then maybe there would be a big earthquake in the earth, or there would be a large killing or something like that, and that energy does flood them. And my way around stuff like that is to become active in saying no. A wee extra one, it's not quite an 18, but it's a sort of 17 and a half. Ask this of yourself. Most people on a shamanic journey hate shoes. Think about it. And with that, I love you and I leave you. Many blessings. I hope you've liked this video. This is my first in what hopefully will be a series on shamanism, shamanic pathways, and healings, etc., all to do with walking a shamanic walk. And I hope you like them. If you do, give me the thumbs up, comment below, let me know, because there's so many other things to do. But if this is what you need and what you want, then I will do follow-ups and get the community going. Sometimes the best learning comes from the comments below, where someone says something and someone else agrees or disagrees, and before you know it, there's a whole learning experience going on in the comments below. So please do that. My name's Colette. My spirit name is Grandmother Winds of the Earth, and with that I give you many blessings and hope that we can look further into the shamanic path together in videos to come. Many blessings now. Bye.